Favoritism. Elohim and Sirian Council favoritism towards Sirian genetic strains and promotion of Patriarchal Templar creed distortion. Pleiadian, Arcturian, and Andromeda resistance and Azurites appointed Bira Confederacy as co-guardians of Palaidorian covenant division Wheateen. The Cloister Melchizedeks and Essene Brotherhood 1240 BC-12 BC. The chaos which resulted from the misfortunes of Akhenaten's reign also created a major division within the ranks of the Elohim of HU3, the Sirian Council of HU2 and the Ra Confederacy from the metagalactic core. Dispute arose as to what should be done with the program of human evolution. The majority of Elohim had abandoned their loyalty to the human races in general, and saved their attentions for Anu Melchizedeks and Hebrew peoples to whom they had closer genetic ties. In the years following Akhenaten's demise, the Elohim and Sirian Council began showing their favoritism of these groups by purposely influencing the developing cultures to adopt the 1. Some historical reference sources suggest that Akhenaten reigned from 1353 to 1335 BC and placed Tutankhamun's reign from 1333 to 1323 BC. Speakers from the Sirian Council provided the dates 1370. 1353 BC for Akhenaten's reign and 1340 to 1331 BC for Tutankhamun. They request that I leave the dates as they have given. I cannot personally attest to the accuracy of either set of dates. Distorted Templar creed. They believed that by promoting male dominance within the races, which was already a rampant distortion promoted by the corrupted Saras Egyptian line, the course of interbreeding could be controlled. By controlling the women breeders and influencing a male elite to practice interracial discrimination, the Elohim's preferred lineage of humans could be kept genetically pure. These selected chosen ones would be given special privilege of ascension if they followed the teachings of the Elohim's altered Templar creed. The Elohim had basically given up on the rest of the human population, and made no attempt to assist the general populace in realigning the damage done to their genetic codes through the propagation of Templar Axion Seal. Other members of the Elohim, Pleiadian Star League Council, Andromeda and Arcturian federations felt this preferential treatment was unfair, and appealed to the Ra Confederacy for intervention. The Ra Confederacy agreed that this treatment was discriminatory and detrimental to the human evolutionary plan. In 700 BC, the Azurite family of the Ra Confederacy was called into operation as primary protectors of the Covenant of Palaidor, and though willing to work with the biased Elohim, the Azurites were given an equal hand in the orchestration of human evolution. Their primary concern was to realign the morphogenetic field of the sphere of Amenti, reintegrate all of the races who had been removed and prepare the races for another opening of the halls of Amenti, to be scheduled in coincidence with the mass ascension wave of 2017 AD. The Azurites and Elohim worked together through the Melchizedek Cloister, establishing the Essene Brotherhood about 1240 BC, which was originally designed to bring the undistorted Templar teachings of the Law of One back into manifestation on Earth. The Essenes were originally one of the 25 families within the Melchizedek Cloister race. Members of this family were interbred with the Hebrew Cloister races to create a hybrid Hebrew strain. The Essenes thus had two primary racial divisions, those of the Melchizedek Cloister and those of Hebrew mixed Cloister lineage. Within several generations, the biased Elohim took the project in their own direction, interbreeding some of the Cloister Melchizedek families with the Hebrew Melchizedeks and promoting the Patriarchal Templar creed, which became the primary focus of the Essene Brotherhood teachings. By 1150 BC, the priests of Ur disassociated themselves from the primary families of the Essene Brotherhood, and began working with a few select families within the Essenes, and the Hebrew and Melchizedek cloisters. These families were chosen to reintegrate the undistorted pure Templar teachings and to work directly with the priests of Ur to ensure the race preparation for the ascension wave of 2017 AD. In 700 BC, the Ra Confederacy gave the Azurites equal directive control over human evolution and appointed them primary guardians of the Covenant of Palaidor. The Azurites began their work on Earth through the Essenes of the priests of Ur, In 196 BC, the Azurites and the Sirian council attempted to mend the growing rift within the Melchizedek families by combining the previous teachings of the Melchizedek priesthood with the evolving doctrines of the Patriarchal and Purist Melchizedeks. The original Melchizedek priesthood, as it exists today, was founded on surface Earth in 1982 BC, prior to Akhenaten's reign, within the Hebrew Cloister race in the area of Salem, which became Jerusalem. An Et Nephilim, an immortal Sirian human hybrid from the second seeding period, was brought to Earth from Nibiru in 1979 BC, carrying a patriarchal version of the Templar creed, which allowed knowledge of ascension and genetic protection to reach the Hebrew and Aryan races. This individual became known as Melchizedek, king of Salem. The foundations for the modern-day Jewish religion were laid at this time with the establishment of the priesthood of Melchizedek among the Hebrew and Aryan races, through which the mystical studies of the original Kabbalah were organized. In 196 BC, some success was achieved in consolidating the Templar teachings by combining the Old Templar Melchizedek doctrine with those of the Blue Flame Melchizedek Essenes and the Templar Melchizedek Essenes. Despite this achievement, two primary, covert divisions within the Essene Brotherhood remained: the Melchizedeks and Hebrew Essenes, who were under the influence of the Patriarchal Elohim, were known as the Templar Melchizedeks. They were primarily descendants of the Hebrew Melchizedeks who had received the Templar seal in 8000 BC, and whose morphogenetic field still remained in Alcyone, not yet reintegrated into the sphere of Amenti. This group emphasized the patriarchal slant of the Templar creed within the Jewish faith and heavily influenced the evolution of the Christian faiths. The Templar Melchizedek Essenes were taught by the Elohim to believe that they were God's chosen people and that they held the key to ascension. The covert group of Cloister Melchizedeks within the Essene Brotherhood, who worked secretly with the priests of Ur under the Azurite Council, were primarily descendants of the Blue Flame Pure Cloister family Melchizedeks. The Blue Flame Melchizedeks had not received the Templar seal in 8000 BC, and their morphogenetic field remained in the sphere of Amenti. Protection of the Ark of the Covenant and the secrets of Amenti had been placed with the Blue Flame Melchizedek Essenes by the Azurite Council. The Blue Flame Melchizedeks taught the original, non-patriarchal, egalitarian creed of the undistorted Templar creed, including the sacred teachings of the science of ascension, the reality of reincarnation and ET ancestry, and the precepts of unity consciousness and the sacred law of one. The two groups coexisted with each other within the Essene Brotherhood until 12 BC, when the Azurite Council orchestrated the next major event in preparing the races for ascension.